Slim Charles is a character that stands out in a pack of ruthless, uncompromising criminals as a man who, despite being heavy in the drug game himself, follows a moral code of loyalty and honor that is respected by everyone else in the game. Even from the beginning of the show, Slim is shown as a dependable and perhaps even more valuable in some cases than Stringer was in terms of counsel, as Avon goes to him first about going to war with Stanfield. He also saves Avon's life later by bringing a surgeon to Avon after he is shot by Chris. Slim is a true soldier and has disdain for those who do not hold themselves to a high standard and the code of the game. He also becomes visibly frustrated when others seem to not be on his level morally or intellectually as well. After Stringer's death and Avon becomes disheartened, it is Slim who reminds him that they have a duty to fight and stand on principle even if they know it is a lie. When Avon is put in prison, Slim begins to work for Prop Joe and correctly surmises that Marlowe is a shady character and should not be trusted. However, Prop Joe dismisses this as he believes the Greeks will not trust Marlowe. Charles later appears to disapprove of Marlowe's violence but only shares confidentially with Bodie after Little Kevin's death. In Season 5, Omar comes out of retirement and tracks Slim down and nearly kills him. However, Slim doesn't beg for his life and merely tells Omar to do what he feels and explains that Prop Joe had nothing to do with his setup. Marlowe, now solely in charge of the co-op, offers Slim the chance to become a top lieutenant in his organization, but Slim turns it down, claiming he isn't cut out for the role. In a display of honor, Slim later kills Cheese after he openly brags about having no loyalty and was simply happy about having control over a better dope connect. This ultimately leads Slim to becoming the new king in the game and is shown at the end as the new representative of the co-op to the Greeks along with Fat-Faced Rick. Thus, new Avon and Stringer are born. Slim always seems to be a step ahead of others around him, even those who he reported to. His insight and understanding allowed him to avoid death and eventually get to the top of the game. Though Slim seems to play a role in every scene he's in due to his ability to make observations about the people around him, there are a few particular scenes that demonstrate his abilities as an advisor and man of honor. First, when Stringer Bell foolishly orders the hit on Omar on a Sunday, thus violating the Sunday truce, Slim openly berates the two hitmen for damaging the Barksdale reputation and not respecting what was the equivalent of a sacred tradition in the game. After this, Slim appears to lose respect for Stringer Bell as he openly refuses to perform a hit ordered by Stringer Bell on State Senator Clay Davis. This is where we first see Slim's intelligence and ability to see what those around him couldn't. He seems dumbfounded that Stringer would even suggest killing someone as powerful as Clay Davis, pointing out that this wasn't just a small-time drug killing, but a high-level assassination. Fortunately for him, Avon comes in and reaffirms what Slim told Stringer and bails Charles out of an ill-conceived plan. Two scenes that stand out that display Slim's code of honor were when he tries to cover for Cuddy after he fails to kill Fruit, and second when he kills Cheese for betraying Joe. Slim knew Cuddy couldn't pull the trigger and immediately played it off, saying it was his fault for not giving Cuddy the proper opening. He even openly tries to take the blame off of him directly in front of Avon, though Cuddy eventually admits why he couldn't do it. Next, when Slim kills Cheese, the fact that killing him would end up costing the Connect hundreds of thousands of dollars, he didn't hesitate in his action. Betrayal was something that could not be tolerated on the streets, and especially with someone like Slim. Interestingly enough, this move sort of solidified Slim as the de facto leader of the co-op. Despite killing Cheese meant the co-op needed to come up with another $900,000 to buy the Connect from Marlowe, almost everyone present acknowledged that this was a good decision. This really is one of the few times Slim took things into his own hands instead of providing counsel. In Season 4, particularly the scene in which Slim talks to Bodie about Little Kevin, shows he understood what was going on behind the scenes more than others in the game. Slim knew Marlowe couldn't be trusted and expressed this openly to Joe, who dismissed his concerns. However, Slim wanted to look out for those around him that he cared about in any way and warned Bodie to be careful about Marlowe. While everyone else was trying to make nice with Marlowe, it was Slim who was doing his best to tell others to stay clear of him and also to not take a foolish stand against him as he did with Bodie as well. So, what can we learn from Slim Charles from a leadership standpoint? Basically, Slim is a man you want at your side. He's going to stick with you through thick and thin. As long as you're doing the right things and upholding a code of honor, he's going to have your back. He's going to tell you things that you might not want to hear, but you need to hear, and then help you figure out what you need to do to be successful. He's going to pick up on things that others don't because his approach is different than others around them. They may not even desire to be on top, but they're very capable of holding that position if they need to. They also know how to avoid potential issues, but they're not afraid to take a stand either. Also, they know when to open their mouth and when to keep it closed. A great example of this is when Marlowe offers Slim a chance to take over as distributor in the Connect, and Slim respectfully declines. He knew that in order to survive, he just needed to stay off of Marlowe's radar. He also probably knew that Marlo wasn't going to last long at the top, so he just needed to outlast him. When Cheese arrogantly accepts the offer instead, Slim gives him that look that said, "Are you really that stupid? You just put yourself in a league with a man who has a reputation for betrayal and violence. Why would you do that?" And sure enough, Marlo was arrested shortly after this, and his whole operation became crashing down. If you have a person like Slim on your team, a person that excels in their job but doesn't say a lot and tends to be more the quiet type, pay attention to how they react to things. The problem with the higher players in the drug game is none of them except Avon really took Slim's advice seriously. Slim spotted Marlo as a problem well ahead of everyone else because he knew exactly what he was going to do. He knew Stringer Bell's plans were not well thought out. He knew that despite Stringer getting killed for something unrelated to the Barksdale-Stanfield War, that they still had to go to war based on that premise or else things would fall apart. He knew getting too close to Marlo was a recipe for disaster in the long run, yet, again, no one really listened to him. Let's say you have an employee or coworker that has a good understanding of how the workplace operates, what strengths people have and their weaknesses, and just in general has a good understanding of how to read people and analyzing complex situations. If they come to you and tell you what they think, 1, it shows they trust you, 2, it shows they're still committed to supporting you, and 3, they've already figured out the consequences of what could go wrong if this situation isn't addressed. Understand that they probably know more than you since they're connected more closely than you think, so they are seeing things that you might not. Also, since they're well respected, people are telling them things that they may not be willing to tell you. Ignore them at your own peril. Another thing to consider is watch how they respond to intergroup conflict and see where they tend to stand on an issue or who they side with. Don't expect a lot of open disagreement in meetings or them to participate in after-meeting complaint sessions. Instead, watch how they react to ideas that others discuss. They may put out their opinion, but don't expect them to argue on it or become emotionally charged. They'll state their opinion and let you decide what you want to do with it. Don't expect their passive or calm nature, even sometimes unwillingness to move up the ladder, to mean they don't want to move up. They may not think it's the right time, or it may be a sign that they see a potential problem and they may not want to be part of the things that are higher up. As employees, slim types are people that serve as a good indicator on how things are going and are usually the first warning sign that something may not be going well in the department or the organization. Again, these people are ahead of the game. If they were someone who is typically always reliable and willing to do whatever you need, but then starts to give open and hard pushback, something isn't right. You need to find out why, because once they lose respect for you, it's over. These people desire high integrity and don't respect those who have no moral code. If they turn down promotions or seem to be less invested, find out why as soon as possible. They could very well have a valid reason, like they genuinely are happy with where they are, or they don't want to move up because they don't want the extra responsibility, and that's fine. But it could also mean that they see a toxic environment and they are going to distance themselves from it eventually. In any case, slim can be your most valuable asset. They're not only highly intelligent and perceptive, but they have a survivor's mentality, and they will be the pawn that makes it to the other side to become queen.